So the two panel, the front panel with the where the plane will go, and the back panel are in ash, and just finished the to join all both pieces, and really happy with it. Few tear out, obviously, still same piece, and it's quite close to the pith. In fact, this has actually got the pith itself, so it's gonna adjust, it's gonna change and move and walk a bit, I'm assuming. In fact, I can already see it here. So next is going to be preparing the oak. I flattened this piece will go on top, and I will show you a drawing, a design, as soon as I will have all the components. What I tend to do is draw up something as an idea, and then I look for the stock, but then the stock will dictate how my drawing is going to pan out. I really don't want to chop big pieces of wood in order to just do something, so I'm waiting for another piece that my timber provider has mentioned that he has, so I put that on hold. The drawing I have done on SketchUp. As you can see, this is the structure providing me with the dimension, which was the main and most important thing. But in addition to that, I just wanted to make sure that the type of look that I had in my head was actually good. Obviously, most important and foremost was the solidity of the structure, but I was really happy with the actual overall look, hence I went ahead. So as you can see here, the distance between the dividers is tailored to the type of planes I have, except for the last one, which I'm still waiting for. I didn't put the external divider both on the left and on the right, which is something that I added later. So for now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to join these two. It will be in oak and ash. As you may know, I don't like so much the look of dovetails, so this is going to be the top, the oak, and I'm going to do a large finger joint. So just need to mark it up and then start to join, and then the tail plane will come this way. I just marked with my marking gauge, and I marked one solid line in the face that would be inside, and whatever was the pin hole from this, I roughly started to mark the front. I prefer not to go all the way through, because then obviously I have to remove the marks and that came out really flat, so I'd rather not touch it again. So now all marked up. Back is continuous line, whereas the front I just covered with the bit missing. Needs to be cut out. So that's the waist, that's the waist, that's the waist, that's the waist. Now get his teeth done. Every now and again, I always want to check how plumb I am with my cut. See how far out I am. This is way out. That's going to be a lot of chisel work. Let's try again. Right side. Oh, that's better. So if I touch at the top, I'm out a couple of millimeters here over 220. So yeah, 1%. Not sure. I've done a mistake. I'm not really blaming it on the tool. I've got this $7.99 or something, not a lot, 99, where everything is a bit twisty and not great. However, I should have paid a little bit more attention. Stupidly, I put the face side at the back, so unfortunately the mistake is at the front, because this one it is on the line, which is fine, a little bit close to my liking, but I could have saved that. Whereas in here, obviously this was tilted and it went below the line. So I believe the best way to do this is probably to take it down to the lowest point, because that would be on the face side. I know it's going to be at the top like this and it's going to face the back, but I really don't like it. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to straighten it across all of them, then shave off whatever is protruding from the actual finger joint. So note to self, look what you're doing, and maybe yeah, learn how to saw with a coping saw, and maybe get a better saw eventually. Anyhow, moving on. Okay, so I rectified the mistake. I took it flat across all of them. Not really impressed by it, but it will work out fine. Obviously, that distance is now, the top shelf is now about just under a couple of millimeter shorter, narrower. So it's okay. The purpose of this is to fit my router plane, so we got ample amount of space. I've got this one and another one that I just got, so I think we are okay. However, moment of truth, that's reasonably clean, slightly sticking that point. Something isn't right. That's what isn't right. Okay, despite the mistake, this is neat and I'm really happy with it. So you might be able to see it. Actually, it's not a couple of millimeters, it's probably one at a push. So yeah, I think I'm okay with it. I think I'm just a bit wound up by the fact that there was this mistake. It actually looks quite nice, so I might leave it. So this is what it looks like. So this isn't too bad. It's not pushed in. It's just, you know, just tucked in. And personally, I think it's okay. So, and it doesn't stick out a lot. So just a question of dealing with it and take it on the chin. Okay, so now just cutting the joints in the bottom part of the back panel. So which is here. So that will go here, that one on top, and then plain tail like this. Now, as mentioned, I don't undercut them a lot. All I do is like a little dimple. So if you see the joint like that, I cut from the back, from the front, and then where they merge, I create like a tiny little incision. You can perhaps just about see it. And all I do is this. Obviously, I make sure that the front, especially, is bang on, and the back, if anything, tiny little lower, if anything, but I prefer them to have straight, so even if you look inside, you don't see any gaps. So now the marking on the back panel, just lined up, nice and straight. So this will be the face side, inside, face side, bottom, and there. So now just the marking. So nice in the vise. Nice in the vise. I can already see some gaps, potential gaps. I haven't seen the gaps yet. As I was squaring this up, I just also made sure that I checked with a square, with a tiny square, all across the actual finger. So this way down, this way, and then that way against the face to see. So any deviation from plumb, then I would have to cut it at an angle, which I'd rather try to cut straight all the time. Is it still in line? Yeah, it's lined up perfect. Okay, now just carry on the marking all the way across. I already marked the one that need to come out. Just marking the teeth with the finger. Done. So I'm just straightening these cuts. I have to say the marking on this oak is way better than marking on the ash. I have a reasonably thick blade, yet I really struggle to actually see the marks with that. So a couple of times I even thought about using a pencil for, as I much prefer using the knife for precision. I'm just on the knot as it happens, so that'll be interesting to cut it. Well, more than cut it, to chisel the correct height, but we'll cross that bridge when it comes to it. Even I was working with ash, I stropped the chisel probably every 2 teeth I was cutting, so it really does make a difference in precision. Well, at least make a difference for me. So.
Animals at risk of drowning in a sea of pollution in Mauritius. Tons of diesel spilling into the Indian Ocean from ships by ground on hence damaging
So cut all the vertical cuts. Just a note, this will be my fine tenon and finger joint saw, because there is a back here to the saw, just keeping the blade straight, and also very fine tooth, so really like that. Problem is, this blade is actually very thin compared to the one that I've used now, which is a lot thicker and also doesn't have a back, so that there is a chance that it will deviate. However, the reason why I've used this one is because this blade is more similar to this very cheap cope saw I have, as don't really see a lot of point cutting with a very thin saw, a very nice and neat and precise thin cut, to then go and mess it up with something like this. So up until I get a thinner blade, then I think I'm gonna carry on the cuts with this. I just need to see how it's gonna work out, because now this blade can actually fit in here, whereas with this cut I had to then re-saw what I just saw, so I didn't really see much point. So these are the ones that I just cut and came out reasonably okay. And you see that one okay, that one I haven't quite done yet. Unfortunately, the one with the knot in it, as you can see, this was the knot, and as soon as I touch with the second hit, or tap more than hit on my chisel, is literally, it kind of exploded. So some repairing to do, hopefully with some advanced acrobatic bricolage I should be able to make this one look like a joint. This will be in the inside face, so not hugely worried about. However, it could be a good practice for me to learn how to fix things. So this is the bit that actually split. You can see that is very, very messy. So I also found this bit, you can actually still see the line that I traced there. So I'm gonna try to glue it back in place here and glue this bit here, pushing it down, and let it dry, and then try to re-chisel it. May use a router plane. I'll have a look. Okay, this is after the repair, and I'm actually quite happy with it. I didn't think it was going to come out as good as it is. If we actually see, so this is the line, and I'm pretty happy with it. Obviously I need to remove the glue, but given that there were quite a lot of bits missing, so for example that bit there, this one you can see that was missing, has been glue, and that there was a big chunk missing here. So yeah, very happy with it. So good repair, happy. So the fit is quite tight, but there is a tiny little lip. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to slightly shave this area here and the same side where it is a little bit here. So basically what I'm trying to do I'm trying to join it, but making it move a fraction this way. One, to close this gap, and two, because there is a tiny little airline here, so I'm hoping that by removing here and here, it will shift probably, I don't know, 1/4 of a millimeter that way. So not only is going to be a much better fit, but in addition to that, it should actually help to close this gap. Face side. Face side. Nose oak, I'm going to try to go up to the edge and pass it, as I just did. Fortunately it didn't split. That's perfect. It's much better. Slightly tight again. So here, that gap is better, and there. So what I'm going to do now is actually swap them over. Leave this one as a reference here, and pair this one here. No, so is this one here. Especially that corner, yeah, it's proud. So that corner is tiny proud, and that corner. I don't want to take out too much because that would actually help to close the gap. But if I put the chisel in here, it is bang on. So just need to take a whole shaving here, put a chisel here. That's slightly skewed, so I'm gonna just finesse this corner here. Now fortunately the grain orientation is dead straight, so I can come down this end, and what I'll do, I'll leave a tiny little bit of material here, there. Let's check the square. Yeah, happy with that. That's neat. Okay, let's try again. Oh yeah. For the toolbox, I'm very happy with this. Interesting to notice is that this panel has already warped quite a bit. So earlier I've used the clamp to close this gap, but the measurements are actually alright. So this one closes nearly fully, and there is pretty flush, maybe a little bit. This one doesn't. This one does, and this one is virtually there. Now this one doesn't, but it's proud, whereas these are not as proud. So basically, during glue up, I just want to make sure that I want to put a clamp in here because it will close the gap and is down to not measurements or work, is down to the fact that this has warped, and I can see the orientation here. The joining is fine here and there, but unfortunately that has warped. Well, cupped more than warp. Cool. Resolve that in glue up.